Hello, everyone. Have I made it in? Let me know if you can hear me and that everything's working. I think I see on my other monitor a bunch of people. Hang on here. Let me take a quick peek. Yes, hello, everyone. Oh my gosh, so many people already. I hadn't expected that. And just so you all know, I have diddly squat prepared for tonight. Yeah, I was that kid in school who waited to the last second to do their homework. And then somehow I always pulled it out of the fire. So I hope that's what I can do for you all tonight. I didn't really have anybody send any more questions in or anything. So I am going to try to keep an eye out for everyone's questions over there. My husband, H. Warren, is in the house tonight. He is a moderator. So if you see H. Warren and you see the little tiny wrench, be nice because he's a nice guy. So hello, I see Steve up the road in Dayton. Let me see if I can see everybody here. Oh my gosh, everyone's there. I see Janae. Hello, Janae. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Scott. Hello, everyone I've missed. Hi, Eric. Hi, Justin. Old fart. Love that name. Hello to Sharon over there in Belgium. Salem, Oregon in the house. Beautiful, beautiful place. I had a friend who went to Salem and very much loved it. And I mean the one on the West Coast, not the East Coast. So hi, Roger, down there in Kentucky. Just up the road, Springfield, Ohio. California, hello. I see everybody is here. It's good to see everyone. Thanks for stopping by. I'm not just going to say hello to everybody over and over. Nobody came here to listen to that. I just wanted to let you know if any of you caught the last live stream, we had the young boy, Kevin from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I think that's where he was from. And he had asked who would win in a fight between Godzilla and Bigfoot. I told him Godzilla would win, of course, because, Godzilla destroys whole cities. There were a bunch of Hot Wheels on the line over that little bit. And unfortunately, Kevin is not happy with me because I sided with his brother over Godzilla, not Bigfoot. So, and he lost 21 Hot Wheels. And apparently 2 of them were pretty hard to come by, pretty rare. I'm not sure, but he was not happy, but he understood that reasoning. So I thought all of you might like to find that kind of funny. So I didn't know if anybody had any questions for you all tonight. Like I said, I really hadn't gotten any questions this time. Last time I had a ton of questions everybody asked, but maybe you guys already asked all the questions that were out there. So let me see. Last time we talked on a couple different subjects about Bigfoot. We talked about everything from what he might be, whether or not he was paranormal. We discussed, gosh, I guess you could say some of the bigger known incidents. I was trying to think of the right word there. And I mentioned, and I incorrectly said Ruby Ridge last time. And somebody said, no, that was the whole thing back in the 90s with, I guess, like the FBI and stuff. We meant Ruby Creek. So I did want to clarify that, not Ruby Ridge, Ruby Creek. That was just me making mistakes. And if you do have questions, please put them in all capitals. It makes it easy for my old eyes to see them. For instance, I'm seeing this one. This person just asked, are there any more sightings in Kentucky or Ohio? I don't know of any right offhand, but there probably have been some. Just because I haven't gotten them doesn't mean anything. I haven't checked the BFRO website lately. I haven't checked any of the other sites that may have some different ones. I haven't gotten anything more recent. I did just get something from Dee in Missouri giving an update, if any of you remember her. So that'll probably be out on Tuesday. I think I don't know what's on production for Tuesday. So let me see. And I've seen a couple others, but please, if you have questions, please put them in all capitals. It makes it a lot easier for me to find. Okay, Sassy Squatch. Love the name. Have you ever gone out and looked for the big guy? Yes and no. I've never made trips solely to do just that. What I have done is when we have gone out, like when we've been up to Salt Fork for other things, when we've gone down to the Red River Gorge to see family down there in Kentucky, when we do those outings, then I definitely take that opportunity to go out and do look. I've never done anything formal. Again, I'll never call myself a researcher. I don't have that credential. I'm not somebody who, especially now with arthritis killing me anymore, I don't go out and spend untold hours or days out in the damp forest. So, you know, who knows? I could still do it. I've been invited to a few and I just might. So who knows? Good question. Thank you, Sassy. Let's see. Hello, Nance. We met at Gatlinburg meeting last year. Hello, Dee. I think I recognize you from your picture. I do actually remember a whole lot of people. So hope to see you again this year if you can make it. Nance, do you have any reports of juvenile Sasquatches in Ohio? I honestly don't know right off the top of my head about a juvenile. I have to say I don't know. I'm sorry, Janae. Not off the top of my head. I'm sure there are. Where there are Sasquatches, there have to be juveniles. I mean, stands to reason, right? You see a human in a city, there have to be some teens around. Okay, let's see. Nance, was there a story you read that gave you the absolute chills? I've had a couple. Again, one of them I just mentioned earlier is Ruby Creek, only because I don't know, there was something about that whole incident with Ruby Creek. I mean, her and her children saw the Sasquatch coming down. I think because it seemed to pursue them, that it actually entered their home. I don't know. That goes a lot farther than most encounters I've seen or heard or read. People see them, they run away, or the Sasquatch runs away. You know, they're out camping. It may circle the house. But this one at Ruby Creek actually entered the home, not when they were still there. But I don't know, that one kind of creeps me out. The other one that kind of still to this day creeps me out is one that I did get, and that's the one from last year called Once a Sasquatch Gets Your Scent, It Will Follow You to the Ends of the Earth. Not only because supposedly they can keep your scent and follow you, but that one went into detail. His grandfather said that they actually tended to eat their prey alive, much the way a hyena or other animals in the wild will do. So I don't know. That one just gives me the willies. I don't do well with that one at all. So let me see here. What else do we have? Oh, yes, that's true, Cindy. Go to Salt Fork, Ohio. It's got Bigfoot. Yes, I've been invited up there by Old Bears, Den of Bigfoot, him and his wife. My husband and I are going to try to get up there sometime this year. I would love to go back up there and see them. Lou, wow, I would never have imagined that you are so young. Hi, y'all from North Carolina. Lou, if you're talking about me, I'm not quite as young as you think. So, but thank you. If that was meant for me, if not, that was a great compliment for whoever you were talking to. Let's see. Oh, and by the way, Lou, this hair might look blonde in this light, but let me assure you, it's actually more like silver gray. It's not so much. I was blonde, but it's more silver gray now. So let's see what else I can find. Jack Frost just asked, how long have you been doing Buckeye Bigfoot? Literally, I think it's been 4 years this month or May. It was 2019. I made the channel, I want to say in like January or February of that year, and I was just still trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. So I don't think I actually published anything to like April or May of that year, but it's been 4 years. So, and it's been a good 4 years. Thank you. Who would win in a fight between Bigfoot and Dogman? I think I'd probably go with Dogman only because they are said to have huge, more canine-like teeth and claws. Bigfoot typically doesn't seem to have meat-eating teeth. I mean, maybe he does. I don't know. So that's just my guess. Dogman to me, I think would be the one. Let's see. Watching for the first time with my 5-year-old grandson. He loves to listen to your videos. Every time we travel around our state where there's a lot of wooded areas, he asks if I see a Bigfoot. Well, Linda, I hope for your sake, if you guys do see one, it's from a good, safe distance, especially with the little 5-year-old. And hello to your grandson out there. From Cleo, you do any stories about Steve Lilly? I do not, because I believe that Cam over at Dixie Cryptid is the one that does those. I believe they are completely solely his thing. So no, I don't. I take stories that people send in to me. So yeah, I love Steve Lilly myself. I love those stories. So I'm always excited when I see a new one come out. Steve said he heard some chatter down in Portsmouth. I'm not surprised. That's a pretty squatchy little area down through there. Kathy wants to know who loves the family stories where we humans befriend the Sasquatch. Actually, Kathy, I think everyone loves those. The reaction I get from people on those stories is absolutely phenomenal. Okay, let's see what else I've got. Sassy Squatch. I'm from Butler County and have submitted a story. Sassy, I'm trying to remember. I've only had a couple here from Butler County, which is where I live. I know that I had one from Houston Woods, and I had one from someone else when they were walking the dog. Was either of those yours? If not, was it recent and I missed it? Let me know. Let's see. Now, Dee just asked, how often do people see Bigfoot in North Georgia? I'm about an hour north of Atlanta. I don't have any concrete numbers, Dee, but I seem to recall that Georgia has gotten quite a few sightings in the last 3 to 5 years. Northern Georgia in particular. I'm sorry, I don't recall specifics. I keep thinking it's Northwest Georgia, more towards the state line, but I could be wrong. So I would say check like the BFRO website just to see what kind of sightings are actively being reported, because I know, again, we talked about this last time, people have trouble with BFRO, but the thing is, those reports were taken by investigators from real people. And if someone has gone so far as to search out the BFRO and go through that process to log a report, you can bet for every one, there's probably, I'm going to be generous and say only 3 others that did not make a report. It's probably closer to 5 or 7. Who knows how many people actually see one and they just don't go through the process formally. So Dee, I would really encourage you to go look and see. That should give you some kind of idea of how many reports there are. Just a thought. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Do you believe in Dogman? I think Sasquatch exists. We're fans here in Britain. Well, hello to you across the big pond there, Neil. Do I think Dogman exists? I'm not so sure in terms of where he falls in the scheme of things, but I believe that people really believe they have seen something that is a Dogman or a canine presence. Unlike at least Sasquatch, where we have the Patterson-Gimlin film and we have centuries of reports and we have legends from Native Americans about them, I don't know of any Native American legends about Dogman. And that to me is really kind of a strange barometer. I put a lot of faith in what the Native Americans say. They had huge complex systems of I don't want to call them legends. But they had stories to explain so much of the world. Sasquatch often existed in them, right along the fox, the eagle, the bear. They didn't make up anything else, but I don't recall a Dogman. So I'm not going to say he doesn't exist, but I haven't gotten as much of that. But that's just me. So anything is possible in this world. I really do believe that. Let's see what else. What do you think about U.S. government agencies hiding info about Bigfoot and why? Well, Cassidy, I don't know that they actually do. I would not be surprised. I'm saying I don't have any actual real proof. I don't think it would be to their benefit to say there's a Bigfoot. what would that do to the economy of things like the state or the national parks? It would just devastate them. And for all we know, maybe that's a lot of the reasons for the sole existence of these national parks that we can never build in. So I don't know. That's a good question. I wonder if anybody else has had an experience at Five Rivers Campgrounds at Parsons, West Virginia. I don't know, Walter, but now it's out there. Maybe somebody will pop up and say they will. I'm heading to Slade, Kentucky this coming weekend for a short vacation. It's supposed to be a hot spot for Bigfoot. Sheila, I do know Slade. I know a lot of that area all the way down. We take Mountain Parkway all the way to Slade, get off there at 11 or 587, follow it through 11 to 587 to Beattyville. So I do know that area, Red River Gorge, all of that. Yeah, I think it's very squatchy. I really do. I hate to use that term, but it is squatchy down there. Let's see. Janae, I think I answered you. I don't know of any Sasquatch juvenile encounters in Ohio, but I'm sure they are there. Let's see. Eric says that juvenile Sasquatch aren't allowed out of Texas. That's an interesting thought. I don't want to go into that one. Nice to see that voice I've listened to for hours. Hello, Joe. Well, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Thanks for showing up tonight. And everybody, if you can do me a favor, please hit that thumbs up. That actually helps out a lot for the channel's analytics and all that stuff that Google really gets all hung up about. So I really appreciate it, everyone. How do you get all the stories on video so well? Lou, are you referring to how I actually read them or the I'm not sure if you're actually asking how I read them. When I get that email, I kind of touched on this in the last video. When I get that email, I read through it. I immediately start making any corrections. When I read something, my mind can fix all kinds of things if I see a missing word or something. But when I go to read it out loud, I have to fix those errors or I mess up. So what I do is I read through, fix things, then I read it out loud 1 or 2 times, just dry run. And that's when I'll find out if there's like a past tense issue or something. I just read it out loud a couple times and then I kind of know where I want to do the emphasis or where I need to pause, what's natural, what sounds good. I have literally recorded myself recording a story. And then I'm like, yeah, the pace is all wrong. It's too fast. It's too fast or too slow. So I don't know. I mess around with them a lot, Lou, I guess. I just keep doing it till I get it right, to what I think is right. Hey, Nance, you forgot that King Kong whipped Godzilla's behind in 1962, Godzilla's movie from Ansem. He did, but, King Kong and Sasquatch, even if they're related, they're 2 different things. I mean, come on. King Kong's a whole different ballpark from Sasquatch. Sorry. Can't believe we're discussing King Kong, Godzilla, and Sasquatch, but I love this world. Nance, out of all your 12 Days of Squatchmas episodes you do every year, which one is your favorite? I've had a couple, but I would also, I have to think that the one, I think it was on Christmas Eve this last year, this guy he fed a pregnant Bigfoot. That's the one. Yeah, I kind of like that. I'm looking forward to see if there's any other developments about that soon. Cindy says they're now saying that Ohio has wolves. I knew we've black bears. I mentioned actually, again, I think in the last video, we have a lot of things around here. We've in Butler County, and I'm in a rural area out by the Indiana state line. It's mostly farms and fields, but we do have a lot of forest still out here. And we have heard coyotes right up next to the house here. Our neighbors have warned us. Someone said they were sure they saw a black bear. I want to say it was last September or October, right up the road here towards Riley and Oxford. Now, there's nothing official about that, but I would not be surprised if there are wolves here too. we certainly have everything to sustain a wolf population. I know that they're repopulating a lot of other areas. So it's just a matter of time. They were here once initially until the settlers wiped them out. So, let's see. I've seen 2 Sasquatch in Alaska. Well, Joe, get those stories typed up and sent in to me, please, at contact@buckeyebigfoot.com. We would love to hear them. Let's see. Janae says, I love Old Bear's Den. How is he, his wife, Neoma Finn, and Cam Buckner? Old Bear and his wife, last time I talked to them, were good. And I told him last month I needed to call him that week. And then all heck broke loose around here, and I didn't get to call him. I do need to call Old Bear. Cam is doing fine. I talked to him, I think it was last month as well. Neoma Finn, I have not spoken with her directly in a while, but last I heard she was doing fine. As far as I know, everybody's doing just fine. It's one of those things, if somebody's not okay, we kind of all hear about it in the group. So let's see. How did you start Buckeye Bigfoot? We knew someone in the family distant who had a sighting, and that sparked a lot of my interest, which actually started before that. So all these interests combined, we went to a Bigfoot convention, and, like anyone in between speakers and stuff, we start talking to people, and it seemed like everybody but me had a sighting or an encounter. And I would always say, well, did you report it? And the answer was always no. They're in a custody battle. They're in a divorce. Their employer would frown on it. So, there was a time it wasn't okay to make these kinds of reports. You were really ridiculed. You were out there saying, you had the anal probe by aliens. If you said that you saw Bigfoot, you were in that classification. Nobody believed you. So it's become a lot more normalized now. But what I did was I decided if nobody else felt they were in a position to make those reports, I could make them. I had nothing to lose. I had no children in the school systems. I did not have an employer who could put me over the barrel. There were all kinds of things that made me a little more free than the average person. So I just decided I'm going to do it. And hopefully I'll get some more stories, and, this will be a thing. And I did get more stories, and it became a thing. So that's how it happened. It could have just as easily not worked out, but I'm glad that it did. Hi, Nancy. Are you still helping Cam with his stories? Cleo, I don't think I've never helped Cam with his stories. I don't think Cam needs help with his stories. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean. Now, one time, Cam was kind and invited me to do a small story. I could narrate a small story on his channel. And he did that I want to say it was within my first 6 or 7 months of a channel. And that gave me a tremendous amount of exposure. He and I do talk from time to time about a lot of things. He's been very helpful to me, but I've never helped. I think Neoma has done more to help him in terms of probably just getting things ready for the channel's broadcast. I'm not really sure. I know that they have a good working relationship. So you might be mistaking me for Neoma, but I don't really know what, if any, help Cam gets on his stories. I have no idea. So let's see. Your hair is beautiful. I thought it was a question. Sorry. Thank you, Janae. I need to go have it done. I haven't done anything since September to it, so that's pretty bad. Only 4 years. Seems like I've been listening to you forever. I know, Eric. It's hard to believe, but yeah, it's only been 4 years. When is your next expedition or camp out? JD, I really don't know. I don't really do actual expeditions. Not in that manner. I don't organize them. I never am going to represent myself as a researcher of that nature. I do hope to go see Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot and his wife up at Salt Fork this later spring or summer. I know they do little squatch out weekends and stuff up there. So I do hope to be part of that. Okay, let's see. Roughly what percentage of stories you receive do you read out and why? Um, that's a good question. I don't know that I have actual numbers, so I'm just gonna kind of give you some kind of idea of percentages. I said before, and I've said a million times, I might get 100 emails. Out of those 100 emails, I'm lucky if one, two, or three of those are actual stories. Of that 100, at least 60 is going to be spam. They want to redo my website. They want to be my SEO expert. They want me to do a free ad for them basically on YouTube, or they want to partner with me. And most of it's junk. Then, so then I've got like 30 or 40 questions left. And they are actual questions, usually legitimate questions people are asking me. So of the ones I get, how many I read out, if that's your question, I try to read the majority of them. There are some that I simply will not read for a variety of reasons. The buck stops with me when it comes to the channel. And if I think it's inappropriate, or there have been some that I can't make heads or tails out of. I mean, I can read them through and I don't know if they were under the influence of something or it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't know what they're saying. I'll say I try to read about 70, 75%. The others, it's just because they're not acceptable for one reason or another. I try not to dismiss anything out of hand, but okay, let's see. Nance, do you ever attend the Ohio Bigfoot Conference in Salt Fork State Park? I have been up there years ago. We don't go as much now for the simple reason there's a long-standing family reunion always the first week of May. And I think that's usually when Salt Fork is. It seems like every year I look at that date and I'm like, we can't. So I don't know. Maybe some year. We'll see. Hey, Nance, Clarence's family has defeated plenty of dog men. Well, that's good to know, Anson. That is good to know. Nance, are you going on the Bigfoot cruise in Alaska in September this year? Hope to see you there. Jack, I had considered it. I really did actually want to go. Me and my sister were going to go. And then I looked into it. It was completely doable. But when I went to the cruise line, I couldn't get any room I wanted. And we just kind of like, we don't think so. I would love to. If they do it again next year, if I can get in on it fast enough, I'm going to do it. I didn't know it was happening till I guess a lot of it had already been booked, but it looked like a good time. I really would like to go. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. I'm just scrolling through all these messages. Wow, everyone. Thank you. What? What a big surprise. So lovely. I was just about to take my dog out to poop. Damn it. I really hate to think that I have interfered in your canine's bowel movement tree. So please take the poor little pooch outside, would you? I'll still be here, I promise. I love your voice. It's soothing. I listen to you every night. Hi, Erica. Well, my husband has been listening to this voice for it'll be 35 years of marriage this year. I'm not so sure he will say it's always so soothing. He's had to listen to it many a night falling asleep too. Okay, let's see. I'm just going through all of the, wow, everybody's got a lot to say. Sassy Squatch, it's one of your first stories that took place in Liberty Township. I do remember it was about a park, if I remember correctly. Now it rings a bell. I do remember. She's talking about one of the stories that she sent in that also occurred in Butler County. Okay. I'm just scrolling, guys. Like I said, if you've got a question. Please put it in capitals because it makes it easier for me. Aunt Lynn online. I've never caught the live before. Is that really you, Nance? Hello. Yeah, it's really me. I promise. Welcome back to Buckeye Bigfoot. There you go, folks. Yeah, no, it really is me. It really is me. Oh, let's see. I thank you, Blue Crossroads. I know I'll be seeing you in Gatlinburg this year. I'm looking forward to it. I still have your big mug. I won't use it, by the way. The one that you made me, I will not use it because I'm afraid of dropping it and cracking the acrylic because I've done that many, many, many times. But it is actually, you're going to laugh. Ta-da! See, I have it right here. So Blue Crossroads made this for me last year, guys. And it is so cool. It is so cool. I'm bad for dropping them. And everybody, I didn't know, I meant to tell you a long time ago, we actually have a channel mascot. This is Bucky. That's what I call him for Buckeye Bigfoot. I got this from that Bigfoot in Me last year in Gatlinburg. This is a little tiny one, and he's got little bitty blue eyes. Isn't he pretty? This is just so sweet. So he stays on my desk a lot. He's my little inspiration. So there I go again. I'm telling you, I'm like a kid. I have to show all my little toys. Sorry. Sorry to get distracted, Blue Crossroads. And thank you for telling everybody to smack that like button. It really does help. Let's see. Have you ever seen Bigfoot? Cleo, no, I have not. I have never had a single sighting encounter. I've never been out in any situation, pardon me, where I heard something and couldn't at least rationalize what it probably was. I've had a lot of what the, yeah, but then we're like, yeah, it was probably just this. Or we look around, we can see something has fallen. So no, I'd like to say I've had a fabulous encounter or sighting or even an audible hearing, but I can't. So, and that kind of makes me sad. Okay, let's see what else. I'm going to grab a couple more of these questions. And then I thought, oh, hey, Connor. The Great Florida Bigfoot Conference was a success. I wouldn't mind going to the Florida one. Are they also done through Gather Up Events, the same one that does the Smoky Mountain one? Because they usually put on really good events. So I'll have to check that. And my husband and I are going to try to see if we can go to the Hocking Hills one this year, just as people walking around, because I think it's a week or two after Gatlinburg. And I know you can't come up here, Connor, but that's another good one. A lot of people have told me really good stuff about the Hocking Hills. So any of you Ohio people out there, if you're going to Hocking Hills, let me know. Let's see. Nance saw a t-shirt, this Bigfoot saw me and no one believes him. I'm sure the other Bigfoot ridicule him too. You saw a hairless human? Yeah, right. Let's see. Okay, of course, I knew somebody was going to ask about the little tiny gray internet star. How is Sage and the cats? Sage is a spoiled brat. That's what she is. She's addicted to Temptations treats lately. You'd think she's a little junkie jonesing for treats some days. She's fine. The other kitties are doing just fine. So I'm surprised none of them are in here, but today was laundry day, which is a big day for all the cats. So they're probably sleeping it off somewhere in my clean laundry, of course. So let me see who else. Somebody asked me, what Bigfoot researcher do you admire? I don't know that I can give you just one. I had a lot of them through the years that I've read a lot of books. Gosh, let's see. I used to read everything printed by John Green, Renee DeHenden. Of course, those are, a little more, I'm going to throw out a name that I don't know that you would even call them a researcher. And if the rest of you, and I meant to bring this up the last time, if the rest of you guys do not get the Bigfoot Times, I would highly suggest it. Now, I bring this up because strangely, maybe this person doesn't fall into a researcher. I believe they do. Daniel Perez is the one that does this Bigfoot Times, and he's been doing it for years. Now, these are not all of mine, but I've been getting them for years. He puts a lot into these, and he's very comprehensive, very thorough. He's very reasonable with his newsletter. It's a monthly newsletter. So if you want to know about other researchers and people out there really doing what needs to be done, you want to get yourself a subscription to this. And no, I'm not paid to say that, but just talking about different researchers, that Daniel Perez in the Bigfoot Times touch on a lot of them. Names I'd never heard of. That newsletter's introduced me to a lot of different people that I had no idea existed, but current ones, I'm really not. I don't think it's fair. I can't just give you one. I just cannot. I admire a great many of them. I think anybody who gets out there, boots in the forest, willing to stick it out on cold, wet nights, that commands a tremendous amount of respect. I'm not sure what else I can tell you. There's a lot of anybody who goes out there gets my respect. So thank you. That was a good question. I didn't have anything prepared for that one. No one's ever asked me that. So thank you. Let's see. I know I'm behind on all of these. I've been trying to keep up this time. Last live stream, I was way, way behind. Bucky is pretty. He's a cutie pie. That came from a vendor called, I think, Bigfoot and Mean. She makes great big ones, like almost like human child sized. They're really, really cute. Have you watched Expedition Bigfoot? And if so, what did you think? Okay, for a minute there, I was confusing it with Finding Bigfoot, two different things. Expedition Bigfoot, I think, is where they even went to like Portlock, Alaska and stuff. I'll have to refresh my memory. I'm pretty sure I did watch it on Amazon Prime. I may have had to rent it. I know it's a series, if I remember correctly. I'm sorry. I watched so many and they all kind of run together. And if it's not something I've watched recently, I kind of gloss over it. I seem to think it was pretty interesting if it's the one I'm remembering, because I was very interested in the Alaskan episode. So I thought it was pretty interesting. I'll have to go back and look now. Thank you, Edward. I'll definitely have to go back and look at those. I like to watch a lot of different shows, even if other people think there isn't a value in them. I can always find a value in them because they bring up things. They have different points of views. What I really like is when they go in there. Like I said, anybody boots on the ground in a forest, they got my respect. So I'm old and arthritic now. I don't get out and do as much of that as I used to or would like to do now. So I have absolute respect. Let's see. Are you talking about Bucky? Sage knocks everything off the shelves. That's why there's always an empty spot up there on that shelf, because sometimes she'll jump up there and she just hangs out like a little tiny furry gargoyle all day. And anything up there immediately goes boop. Hello there. Thanks for listening. I appreciate that. I know, and I see you all the time in the comments. And a lot of you probably wonder why sometimes some people get comments replied to them and some people don't. It's nothing personal. I literally go down the list as far as I can go. And there might only be 120 on this video, but across all 400 videos, I could have, 700 comments left in a day. I do try to get to everybody. I do. It's just not that easy. I really do try to read them all, though. I do, because I enjoy reading what everybody says. Do you want to see one? I assume you mean a Sasquatch. Of course I would. I'd like to see it in a car moving at about 80 miles an hour through high power binoculars a good quarter mile away or more. That's just me. Just because I don't run too fast anymore. Just like Snow White and her toys for big guys. Have you ever been to Noble County, Ohio? Plenty of my mother's family there. I don't think I have been there. I've probably been through it. Of the 88 counties in Ohio, I've probably at least driven through 70 of them at one point. What would be the first thing you would do if you saw a Bigfoot? I think that would depend on the situation. If I'm at a good distance and had the ability to be safe, I'd try to get a photograph or a video, of course, if I thought about it. If it's too close, I'd just run for my life. How's that? I'd like to say I'd stay and try to make friends, but I don't think that would go well. Hilton Whittlewood, why Buckeyes? Sorry if you've already said. If you're not from the United States, you may not be aware, but most states within the United States have nicknames. The Ohio state, which is where I'm from, is called the Buckeye State, and that comes from the Buckeye tree. The settlers noticed that, pardon me, the Buckeye tree was very prominent here in the Ohio Valley, and that actually comes from the name of the nut of the Buckeye tree. It literally looks, they say, like the eye of a buck. So it's called a buck's eye. And if you say you're a Buckeye, it means you're from Ohio. So this was an Ohio Bigfoot channel. So it was called Buckeye Bigfoot. I hope that made sense. Also look up the delicious recipe for Buckeye candies. If you like Reese's Pieces, or I'm sorry, Reese Cups, you'll love a Buckeye. It's peanut butter, some sugar, and melted chocolate. You can't go wrong. Let's see. Hello, Nance. I know Bigfoot has caused a lot of people to attain room temperature, but do you know of any instances where Dogman has caused anyone to attain room temperature? When you're saying room temperature, I assume you're meaning that they are expiring and dead. I don't know of any right offhand, but that doesn't mean that there aren't any. I don't get too much on Dogman. I bet I've had a half dozen stories in 4 years. So, hello there, Kevin. Okay, gosh, lots and lots and lots. Do you have any flyers or pictures of yourself that you would sign and send to your fans? I don't, Diane, because I never thought anybody would want one. I mean, certainly if someone asked for something, I'm sure I would make sure they got something. I would be sure of that. But I don't, as a rule, I don't see myself as somebody to sign autographs, which is funny. I can remember being blown over in Gatlinburg when somebody asked me for my autograph. I'd never signed an autograph before in my life. So, but yes, if you want something, just email me. I'll see what I can do for you. Hey there, Miss Figgy. How are you? Okay. Have you ever had any stories from the Upper Peninsula in Michigan? My grandparents used to have cabins there. Actually, yes, we've had quite a few through the years. And there's also another researcher I would point out that I am somewhat acquainted with. He's been very kind to me. His name is Phil Shaw. He's from West Branch, Michigan. And that's pretty much all he does is take Michigan Bigfoot sightings, and he's got a lot of stuff on his website, and he's here on YouTube as well. So you might want to look up Phil Shaw. We have had quite a few from the Upper Peninsula. I think he's had a lot from like Mayo, Michigan, West Branch, and a couple others. But I think he's got some from the UP too. Sorry, I'm just scrolling for more more questions. What TV show of the big guy do you like? Hope it's not Mountain Monster. Men run around in the woods, scream, and run with guns. Expedition is best one. Yes, Bigfoot Expedition Bigfoot. Somebody just asked me about a little bit ago. That is one that I have watched. I think I have watched all of them at one point or another. Honestly, I'll tell you one of my favorites that I'm really hooked on lately. I can't say that it's really a TV show. They do documentaries, and that's Small Town Monsters. I first found them through the Minerva Monster documentary they did. If you are not familiar with Small Town Monsters, I urge you to check them out. They are here on YouTube as well. They always have stellar productions, stellar footage. You know, they go out there. They actually go to a lot of these places. I find their stuff very, very educational and very good. So TV sometimes has good and sometimes has bad. What is your opinion about the spheres? Viggy, are you talking about how people report seeing spheres when they see Bigfoot, and that they're somehow related? I can't say that I have an opinion because I don't think I have enough information to make an opinion. I know that people say they are connected. Who knows? I don't know. I'm willing to believe there could be things like that connected. It's just not my first go-to. Again, I'll say again, I don't think there's anything paranormal about a Sasquatch. I think that they are real flesh and blood. And I know the BFRO calls it the woo, and they don't do any reports that have anything to do with the woo. I can respect that. I understand they're trying to keep a very, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to just say believable. I don't want to say respectable, but they have a line of definition, and that's where their reports need to fall into. I think it's to help keep a sense of acceptance and for other people not to dismiss them right away. On the one hand, I really do think that there is no paranormal with Bigfoot, but I'm not going to say that there cannot be any. There certainly can be. Just because I don't experience it, I'm not going to disregard it. So same with the spheres. I don't have an opinion on them, but I'm not going to say they don't exist either. Here's my favorite from Roger. Roger, you just brought up one of my favorites. What's your thoughts on the Patty film that was filmed at Bluff Creek? My thought is that is the real McCoy. That's the real deal. There are people out there swearing that they were the person wearing a costume. I've said again and again, where's the costume? How did you make it? What did you make it out of? How did you accomplish that in 1967? When Planet of the Apes came out, I think the next year, in 1968, the people that did the costumes for Planet of the Apes could not do that with big Hollywood production. They could not do that. I believe it was in Dr. Meldrum's book that he talked about the man who did the costumes for Planet of the Apes. People would ask him all the time, did you do those? You did it, didn't you? You did it. He never wanted to say no, because then he had to admit that there was somebody better than him out there. And he only admitted saying all of that, I guess, much later in life. But if you look at all the Planet of the Apes movies, there's a reason that none of those apes from the 1968 movie, they You see from their chin up, you see from their wrists down, or you see their feet. There's a reason that for the most part, you don't see them in full body fur suits because they couldn't make them believable and movable and show musculature. I just can't imagine. And if you were going to fake that in 1967, I just don't know where you'd get the materials. I don't know. I'm somebody who sews today, and I've certainly done some costumes, not like that, but I can't put my hands on anything that looks that realistic. Not even today. Maybe Hollywood can, but they couldn't in 1968, and the best in Hollywood said they couldn't. So that's my opinion, Roger. I think it was real. Absolute. I do. Okay. How do I get the Bigfoot Times? I don't know right offhand what the address is. I guess I should have had that better prepared, but I wasn't preparing to pull those out. That was just off the cuff. Look for Bigfoot Times newsletter online. It's a very no frills thing. You just sign up, do PayPal. I don't even think it re-ups every year. Every year I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm missing a newsletter. And then I realized my subscription ran out. So I have to go sign back up. Just go to Bigfoot Times. Matter of fact, thank you, Harvey. My husband just found it. www.bigfoottimes.net. Let's see if I can get this over here. Well, it's because I was typing on my other keyboard. Oh, aren't I funny? Now that should have it. I think I just put it up there in the comments. Do you get a lot of stories that involve Bigfoot's ability to warp time? I don't know what to call it. The portals, I guess, lacking a name for it. That goes along with their mind speak. I've gotten a couple, I'll say a handful, 6 or 8, maybe in 4 years. Not a lot. Not a lot. Expedition Bigfoot was on the Travel Channel and was in Oregon. I probably have watched it. Thanks for clarifying that, Anson. I probably have watched it. I've got YouTube TV. I don't have regular TV, and I know it gets the Travel Channel, and I've got Amazon Prime, and I've got Netflix, and I've subscribed to some other channels, and I forget what's where. It was kind of almost easier some days when we had cable way back in the day, but I'm not going back to that, I can tell you. There, everyone, if you're looking for the Bigfoot Times, my husband found it. It's www.bigfoottimes.net. And you're basically just going to make a payment to the man who runs it, and his name is Daniel Perez. I assure you the site is safe. I've been getting that newsletter for years. It's not like a big fancy schmancy setup, but that's how he keeps his costs low. I think the last time I subscribed, I want to say it was about $20 for a year. And that's a newsletter a month. It comes in a basic business, just plain white envelope. They don't even say Bigfoot Times on them or anything. It's just, I forget where it's from, but there's nothing to identify. It's even a Bigfoot newsletter. So it looks just like a letter. And I really appreciate that. That's pretty nice. So I'll leave that up there if you want to look at it. There are a lot of extra ones that I'm probably missing. Okay, Figgy says, Miss Nance, what is your opinion about spheres that show up at times in videos? Okay, so that's what you were talking about. I'm not really sure what they are, Fig. I'm sorry, I really don't have an answer. I can't tell you. I know that they're certainly there. They exist, whether they're paranormal, whether they're something natural, whether they're electrical, atmospheric. I don't know. I really don't know if they're connected to Bigfoot. I can't make that claim. So bear with me, everyone. I'm just doing my best here. If you've got questions, please put them in capitals like that. It makes it real easy to find when I'm scrolling. Do you do stories about portals? I've experienced a few here in Alaska. Mona, I have absolutely done some stories on portals, and people send them in. And, again, I'm not big on paranormal with Bigfoot, but I can't discount them. I cannot, because there are too many people who are. We've already crossed the Rubicon. We are talking about a cryptid. So who am I to say portals don't exist, but Bigfoot does? So yes, I do them. I will absolutely do them. Please send them in. I would love to hear them. So you can send them to contact@buckeyebigfoot.com. Okay, let's see here. You want a flyer? Are you talking about the Bigfoot Times? I see. You were the one that asked about room temperature. Don't worry about triggering anyone. If they're that easily triggered, they shouldn't be on a Bigfoot channel. That's my opinion. Because there's a whole lot in any Bigfoot story that would probably trigger somebody. No, I haven't. And I think it was in reference to Dogman in particular. I have not gotten anything about Dogman killing anyone that I recall anyway. Doreen, I remember you very well. So you've never washed that shirt, huh? That's pretty cool. I need to get some new shirts designed. That's what I need to do. Do you get many stories in Northeast Texas? I can't say I've gotten many. I definitely have gotten a few. I don't recall right offhand if they were Northeast Texas. I want to say so because they were real close to the Arkansas, Louisiana kind of triangle area up there. Let's see. Nance, I'm inviting you to my Bigfoot conference in Alabama in June. Camera and Neoma will be here. That's fabulous. If I'd had more notice, maybe, but I don't think I'd be able to make it. I'm sorry, because my husband has to schedule time off, and most of his time off for the year is pretty much already spoken for. So next year, make sure I have some extra notice. I'd be happy to try to get there. I mean, Hey, Nance, do you remember me from almost the start of your channel from the name Red Garcia? I do remember Red Garcia. Absolutely, I do. And the thing is, I think it's my Tube Buddy. There's another little app I use with YouTube. When I'm going through comments, it will show me like a little red suitcase for people. And it will, if you allow it, if you allow people to see that you're subscribed to channels, it will say subscriber for 2.5 years allows everyone to see their subscriptions. So I do see, and some of these people I quite often see subscriber for 4 years. I do see that. And Linda, I know I've seen the Linda Vaughn name as well, but I do remember Red Garcia. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I think, let's see here. Of the stories that you narrate, do many of the original writers send you drawings, maps, photos of creatures, footprints, etc.? Doreen, I've had quite a few, actually. I've had quite a few send me everything from the GPS coordinates. I was trying to think, I almost said Google Map coordinate, and I knew that wasn't right. GPS coordinates. I've had photographs sent in of the specific place that these things took place. I've had many drawings sent in. I've had people send in pictures of footprints that sometimes they're clear and I can see that there's a footprint there, but 50-50. It just looks like dirt and I don't see a footprint. And I think it's not that there wasn't a footprint there. I'm sure anyone who's tried to take a picture has ran into this, where no matter how you try to photograph something, sometimes things are just lost. The definition or something is lost in the photograph. So, but yes, I do get those things. Probably at least 1 in every 20, I'd say. Yes, they are. I like them. I like them a lot. I agree with that as well. Roman says, I think the Patty film is real because of the horse's reaction. The horse would not have had such an intense reaction if it had been a human in a suit. I tend to agree. I think I am like way behind on a lot of these. So I also see we've already been in this an hour. And like I said, I really didn't have anything really planned. It's just funny that I had printed this out for my own kind of reference. I have big binders back there. I'm always printing stuff out. We've actually even mentioned this earlier, Ruby Creek incident, and who's some of my favorite researchers and who have I read. Somebody did ask me what were some of the books that I like to read on Bigfoot. I do have a couple from John Green, and this one is from On the Track of Sasquatch by John Green. I just thought this was interesting. If you're not familiar with the Ruby Creek incident, I would highly recommend that you get into it. This happened back in 1941. This is up in Vancouver, I think it was, with the Chadwick family. What was interesting is that the Sasquatch, literally, this woman and her children had to vacate their home in that area by Ruby Creek and went back to town because this Sasquatch was coming right in on them and actually did enter the house. So, but what I thought was interesting, I don't know if you've read this or not, but there's a brief question and answer of somebody from that area about this. And I thought I'd read this for you, and I found it pretty interesting. The following is a portion of the questioning of Essie Tyfting, recorded by the magistrate's secretary and later sworn to. Question: tell us what you saw. Answer: well, it all started with Mrs. Chapman running down the track crying, "The Sasquatch is after me." And the questioner asked, "What did you do?" Answer: I took the hand car up to her place. I think they're talking about a railroad track hand car. And then the questioner asked, "What did you find there?" The answer: the fish barrel had been turned over and there were fish all around the side of the house, and we found footprints going toward the river, leading from the potato patch to the edge of the CPR fence and across the tracks and the slough towards the mountain. The questioner asked, how big were the tracks? She answered, about 16 inches long, 4 inches at the heel, and 8 inches across the ball of the foot. The questioner asked, were there 5 toes? They answered, yes, but no claw marks. The stride between the prints was 4 feet between heel and toe, all through the potato patch. The questioner said, did you measure the footprints? Answerer says, yes. Questioner said, you, yourself, you measured. She answered, yes, I measured them, and after a man came from across the line, and that was Deputy Sheriff Dunn, we measured them again. Questioner said, and what did Mrs. Chapman say about the Sasquatch? The answerer said, she said it's as big as She said it's a big, hairy man. Question. How did she describe the incident? Answer. She said he looked through the window and she grabbed the children and ran down the tracks. Question. What condition was she in? Answer. Scared to death. Question. Was there anything about the CPR fence that was particularly striking? Answer. Well, we could see one footprint on the side indicating and another on this side, and she was indicating. Question. How high was the fence? Answer. Between 4 and 5 feet. Questioner. The creature was able to step right over the fence? Answerer. Yes. Not jumped, just stepped. Question. How deep were the footprints? Answerer. In the potato patch, they were about 2 inches deep. And the questioner then asked, and on that basis, could you estimate how much this creature would weigh to make such a footprint? Answer. I would say about 1,000 pounds, 800 to 1,000 pounds to make a print that deep. Question. Are you familiar with bear tracks? Answerer. Yes, I've seen enough of them at Ruby Creek. Questioner. Could these have been bear tracks? Answerer. No, they certainly could not. Bear tracks wouldn't ever have the shape of a human heel. These look like human feet. Question. Any sign of the creature having walked on all fours? Answerer. No. So again, that came from the book by John Green, On the Track of Sasquatch. I found that particularly compelling because she's very clear about what she saw. She was there after the incident. She knew Mrs. Chapman, and she was able to tell us firsthand that Mrs. Chapman was clearly very scared. A lot of people will try to discount different stories and different things, especially historically, if they find one little tiny thing that could be wrong, or if there's some contradictory evidence somewhere in anyone's statement. But Miss Essie Tifting, her statement, I don't know, I read it and I just found it compelling. I just thought you would enjoy it as well, because I love the historical context. I love the historical accounts, and I've often heard from all of you that you do as well. So anyway, I brought this up because it's going in one of my books up there. I have a section where I've been compiling different interviewee accounts. I wish I had more of them. So, all right, let me put my glasses back on so I can read what everyone else has been saying. So I'm not seeing too many more questions. I see, ever listened to the episode of Sasquatch Chronicles where the gentleman's camper is being attacked by a Bigfoot while he's on the phone with 911? Compelling stuff. Actually, Mark, yes, I have heard that. I do listen to Wes over there at Sasquatch Chronicles. I just was listening last night to one of my favorite people in the world, which is Les Stroud, was on there. And I want to say it was just a couple months ago, maybe, pretty recent. I do listen to a lot of that. And I have heard that 911 call. Someone said somewhere that that was staged. I don't know the truth of that. I don't know what's real or not. So I haven't really looked into that. So, all right, everyone. Look, we've already been on here for over an hour. I could talk all night, as you all already know. If you guys have any last minute questions, let me know. Otherwise, I think we're going to be winding it down. I really appreciate everyone that did come in for tonight. If you haven't already, please do hit the thumbs up button. Tell me what you would like to see next month. We will be trying to do these monthly. Yeah, buddy. Look at there. Cam just posted a new Steve Lillis story. Hot diggity. Guess what I'll be doing after I get off work or get off of here? I'm going to go over there and listen to it. Thank you, Sergeant Deacon. I think that is everything for tonight, folks. Like I said, I didn't have anything really prepared tonight. I did want to share that little bit of an interview from Ruby Creek with you. That's got to be one of my more favorite. Is that a correct term? More favorite? That's one of my favorite historical accounts of Sasquatch. So be thinking between now and next month, what would you like to hear? Do you want to talk about something in specific? If so, shoot me an email at contact@buckeyebigfoot.com. Otherwise, I will be seeing all of you again this Tuesday. And don't forget, as always, until we meet up again, you know what I'm going to say. Absence of proof is not proof of absence. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.